Do you agree here then with comments from people like your colleague Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that the Biden administration should ignore this ruling, that the FDA should ignore this ruling?
Well, this is the judicial branch and we have a court system. I do think that this is going to be relegated to the courts. There are other lawsuits that are going on right now. This is an FDA approved drug. I support the usage of FDA approved drugs, even if we might disagree. It's not up to us to decide as legislators or even, as the court system that whether or not this is the right drug to use or not, number one. So I agree with ignoring it at this point, but there are other lawsuits that are happening right now in other states as well over this issue. But to look at the case itself, when you look at the law that the judge used, an old law that the Supreme Court said was unconstitutional, this thing should just be thrown out, quite frankly.
So look, I understand that Nancy Mace has some nuanced positions on abortion, and if she believes this pill should be available, I'm totally fine with that opinion. Doesn't really bother me. But for her to be on board with this defy the courts narrative really, really bugged me because I don't think she's fully thought this through. If this, for example, she has opposed a lot of the Biden administration's policies, their overreach, their vaccine mandate, their attempt to rewrite immigration laws, their eviction moratorium that seized nationwide rental properties, their environmental regulation that didn't follow the proper process and overreached. All of those things have been blocked by the courts, and they've been vital to keeping the Biden administration in check. But if the Biden administration can defy this judge on this, they can defy them on anything, and the courts can't serve. So I just thought it was really disappointing to see her not really thinking through the consequences of this. Even if she strongly disagrees with this ruling, okay, appeal it, advocate against it, try to work around it, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
So I was really surprised to see her say this, and I feel like her basic premise is coming down to the fact that this is a Texas federal judge versus the Supreme Court or something, which I think, again, just doesn't really seem to be super up to speed with how the courts work. Even if it is a Texas federal judge that is still a federal court, it would then go up on appeal if you wanted to appeal it and keep going eventually to the Supreme Court. This is how things normally proceed every day on numerous issues in this country. And if that's your premise for overturning this decision, then I just don't think that tracks whatsoever. I'm also confused because, to my knowledge, Nancy Mace has always been a pro-life person, and so I'm I don't know, to me it's weird to see her not only sticking her neck out on this issue, but doing it in such a way that would undermine the basic rule of law. So I don't know. I mean, whenever I see women across the board speak on abortion issues, as a woman myself, being privy to a lot of information of other women around me, like I know how many women are survivors of sexual assault. I know how many women have had to have abortions they felt at some time in their life, and there are a lot of emotions that go into these discussions. And I will just say, this is true for me too. Sometimes I get emotional on issues and you don't think as clearly as you would. And I know she has herself come out and said she is a survivor of sexual assault. So I'm going to, maybe give her a bit of a pass on this one and hope that she just hasn't fully thought it through all the way, because I do think this is breaking with where you would usually find her on such matters.
Yeah, I'm never one to say one bad take means somebody is worthless now, right? But I just think she should really reconsider this, because when you find yourself agreeing with AOC on something like this, maybe reevaluate.
Maybe don't.
But more broadly, we just need our elected officials to understand why the rule of law is important, and to stop across the board, Republicans and Democrats, being so incredibly short-sighted. Because whenever they throw things out, right, like they nuked the judicial filibuster for federal judges under Democrats, but not for the Supreme Court. Well, okay, you open that door. The Mitch McConnell did it for the Supreme Court, and you got the conservative Supreme Court. It's like, didn't take long for that one to bite you in the butt. Same thing with now they want to get rid of the Senate filibuster. If they do, they might be able to pass a few laws that they can't get 60 votes on right now. But as soon as Republicans are in charge, there'll be all sorts of nationwide bills passing that couldn't have passed with a filibuster. It's like, think 5 steps ahead, people. Is all we're asking, but apparently that's too much.